Did you know that pumpkin pie was served at the very first Thanksgiving dinner in 1621? That's right, it's tradition, and it's been a tradition in my family almost ever since. Today, I'm bringing you my grandmother's pumpkin pie recipe. It's a simple yet elevated dish that is sure to become an instant family favorite. So grab an apron and let's get baking. Hi, I'm Andrea and welcome to the Grit and Grace Mom channel. We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about how busy moms can save time and money in the kitchen. And that's a good thing, but there's also a time and a place for slowing down. And one of those times is definitely the holiday season. At the time of this recording, we are about 1 week out from Thanksgiving. And I don't know about you, but Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It's like the Super Bowl for food lovers. And one of my favorite things to do is to put together a big Thanksgiving spread. And I like to change it up every year, do variations on a theme, try different recipes. However, since becoming a mom, I find that my kids, they actually take comfort in routine, some of the same recipes again and again. And so I have been returning to some of the holiday classics. And one of those is this pumpkin pie recipe. This pumpkin pie recipe was given to me by my mother, and I think she got it from her mother, and I think she might have gotten it from her mother. I'll have to find out how many generations back this thing goes. It goes back a long way. But my mom actually introduced it to my kids, and now they ask for it. It is a very simple recipe. In fact, you'll never want to get a store-bought pumpkin pie after you try this recipe. You will be ruined for store-bought pumpkin pie after you try this recipe. It will taste like rubber cement in a pie shell after you try this recipe. But at the same time, it's very simple. So what do we need to make grandma's pumpkin pie? Well, obviously, first and foremost, we need pumpkin. We need 1 cup of canned pumpkin. Now, this is a very important detail. Make sure that your can of pumpkin just says canned pumpkin. We're not looking for pumpkin pie filling because we're gonna add sweetener and spices later. So 1 cup canned pumpkin. We need 2 cups of milk. I'm using whole milk, but you can use any kind of milk you like. We need a 1/2 cup of sugar and 1 egg here. And then we need a tablespoon of cornstarch. According to my mom, it is supposed to be a slightly rounded tablespoon. That's very unscientific, but you know, do your best. And we need some cinnamon and nutmeg. And then here is the modern twist on the classic. We are using a store-bought pie crust. If you have a homemade pie crust recipe that you love and can bang out super quick, feel free to use that. But we're busy moms here, so we're gonna be using our good friend Pillsbury. The first step in preparing your pumpkin pie is to prepare the pie dish. So I've got a glass pie dish and I'm just rubbing some butter in it to make sure the pie crust doesn't stick to it. Next, we want to press the pie shell into the dish. So you see how I'm just kind of like, I'm pressing it down, making sure there are no air pockets. And then next you want to crimp the crust. I will admit I am not the world's best pie crimper. Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. You're better at this than I am. I'm sure there's a YouTube video somewhere that you could find on how to properly crimp a pie shell, but hey, perfect is pretty, done is beautiful. So I'm using a Pillsbury pie crust. You could also use a gluten-free pie crust if that is a need in your family. One of the beautiful things about this recipe for pie is that it's very easily adaptable to gluten-free. It's not as easily adaptable to dairy-free, although I have done it. So if that is something you want to see, comment dairy-free down below. Okay, now that our pie shell is ready, we are moving on to prepare the filling. I've got my 1 cup of pumpkin, and then I'm adding 2 cups of milk. You know, one of the awesome things about pumpkin pie is how often you get to eat pie and say that you're eating vegetables. I mean, I guess the only other example would be a sweet potato pie. But anyway, I've added 1/2 cup of sugar and a tablespoon of cornstarch. My cornstarch didn't come out all the way. And now I'm cracking an egg in. and I'm going to stir. I'm going to whisk this together until it's nice and smooth. We want to get all of the lumps out. Back to the whole sweet potato pie conversation. You know, I grew up in the north where we are team pumpkin. It wasn't until I moved to the south where I found out that sweet potato pie was a thing. But anyway, so there's my pumpkin pie. I'm pouring it into the shell. You see how it's nice and smooth. There are no lumps. Now we want to sprinkle some cinnamon on top and a little bit of nutmeg. That is something that makes this pumpkin pie a little bit unique, is that we put the spices on top rather than mixed into the custard. It gives it kind of a lighter flavor. Okay, so I've preheated the oven to 425 degrees, and now I am placing the pie into the oven. Now, I never put anything to the oven without setting a timer. We're setting it for 10 minutes to start at that higher heat. The timer's gone off. I am checking to make sure that the crust is beginning to look golden brown. It is. So now I'm going to reduce the heat to 350 degrees, and I am setting the timer for 30 minutes. My timer's gone off, and now I am going to look and see if the pie is steady. You see I'm kind of jiggling it there? It's still pretty liquid in the center, so I am going to close it back up and set my timer for another 15 minutes. I'm going to check it again in 15 minutes. Now the timer has gone off. I'm pulling it out and I'm doing the little jiggle, and I'm liking the way that it feels set. It's got a uniform consistency to it, so it is ready to come out. Now, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Again, how often do you get to eat pie and say that you're eating your vegetables? Okay, I'm gonna cut a slice and put it on a plate. And now it's time to kick back, relax, and savor the fruit of our labors. Enjoy. So there you have it, my grandma's classic pumpkin pie. I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that it becomes one of your family holiday classics. Chime in down below. What are some of your favorite Thanksgiving recipes? Are you team pumpkin or team sweet potato? I would love to know. If you have found this video helpful or enjoyable in any way, then please consider subscribing for more recipe tutorials like this. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.